Aurora Interstellar Academy was the most beautiful school in the sector. Its silver buildings shined under the morning sun, and floating bridges connected one tower to another. Students from many planets walked to the main courtyard every morning, laughing, talking, or rushing to class. But inside this peaceful place, a dark routine happened every day at the same time. A small winged alien child named Leary walked alone toward her class. Her wings were soft, glowing with a crystal-like light. They opened behind her like two shining petals. Leary was gentle and quiet. She never spoke unless someone asked her something. She always looked down when she walked, like she wished she could disappear. And the reason was simple. Every morning, 3 alien bullies waited for her. They were reptilian boys, tall, thin, and sharp-eyed. Their skin was greenish and rough. They were known for trouble, for fights, and for hurting weaker students. But they enjoyed hurting Leary the most, because her wings were fragile, and her fear made them feel powerful. On this morning, the bullies stood at the center of the courtyard with cruel smiles. "There she is," the tallest one hissed. "Little winged freak." Leary slowed her steps. Her wings folded tight. Her hands shook. She looked around, hoping someone would help. Students saw her. Some frowned sadly. Some looked away. No one stepped forward. No one wanted to be the next target. Leary swallowed hard and kept walking. Maybe, she thought, today they would not hurt her too much. But they stepped in front of her. The tallest bully grabbed one of her glowing wings and yanked it. Leary cried out softly, but she didn't fight. She never fought. She knew they liked it when she reacted. Look, another bully laughed. Her feathers looked new today. Fresh, easy to break. He pressed a claw on the edge of her wing and snapped a crystal feather off. It fell to the ground, sparkling as it broke. Leary trembled. Tears filled her eyes. She tried to cover her wings with her arms, but the bullies pushed her hands away. "Why do you even come to this school?" the bully sneered. "You can't fly. You can't fight. You're useless." I just want to go to class," Leary whispered, her voice shaking. "That's funny," the bully said as he grabbed her again. "We want to play." Students watched but didn't move. They all felt bad for Leary, but no one wanted trouble. It was easier to pretend nothing was happening. But someone new was watching that morning. A human girl named Rhea had just transferred to Aurora Academy. She wore the same school uniform as everyone else, her backpack hanging loosely on one shoulder. She walked with easy confidence and curious eyes, studying the mix of different alien students around her. She had never seen so many species in one school before. Then she noticed Leary. At first, Rhea didn't understand what was happening. She saw a small child crying while older students laughed. She slowed her steps, watching carefully. When she saw a feather break, she stopped completely. Her eyes narrowed. Her heart beat harder. Her fists slowly tightened. Rhea had seen bullying before, in other schools, on other planets. She hated it with all her heart. But this time, something felt different. Maybe it was the fear in Leary's eyes. Maybe it was the cruel smiles on the bullies' faces. Or maybe it was the fact that no one was stepping in to help. Whatever the reason, Rhea felt anger rise inside her like fire. The bully lifted his hand again, aiming to snap another feather. Before he could touch Leary, Rhea stepped forward sharply. "Stop," she said. Her voice was not loud, but it was strong, so strong that everyone around turned to look. Leary froze. The bullies turned their heads and stared at the human girl, standing a few steps away. "Who are you?" one bully asked, annoyed. Rhea didn't answer. She walked closer. Her eyes were fixed on Leary, not on the bullies. "Are you okay?" Rhea asked softly. Leary didn't speak. She only shook her head. The tallest bully snorted. "This has nothing to do with you. Human. Walk away." Rhea finally looked at him. "She asked you to stop. You didn't listen." Her voice was calm, but there was steel inside it. "Now I'm asking you to stop." The bully laughed loudly. "Or what? You'll cry for us." Rhea didn't blink. "No, I don't cry." The bully stepped closer, expecting fear, but Rhea didn't move back. She stood straight, eyes steady, shoulders firm. Inside her mind, She was ready to fight if she had to, but she hoped they would walk away. They didn't. The biggest bully grabbed Leary's wing again, harder this time, to show Rhea that she had no power here. Leary gasped as the delicate wing bent unnaturally. That was the moment everything changed. Rhea stepped forward, faster than anyone expected, and grabbed the bully's wrist. Her grip was strong enough to make him wince in pain. The bully jerked back, shocked. "What?" Rhea's eyes burned with anger. "Let her go." Students around the courtyard fell silent. Whispers began. Heads turned. No one had ever seen someone stand up to these bullies before, and certainly never a human. The bullies looked at each other. Their pride was threatened. Their control was slipping. They didn't like it. The leader growled, "You're going to regret touching me." Rhea didn't look scared. She didn't even step back. She simply said, "We'll see." The courtyard was filled with tension. Leary trembled behind Rhea. The bullies glared at the human girl, who dared to challenge them. Everyone watching felt the same thing at that moment. Something big was about to happen. Something the Academy would never forget. Rhea released her grip and stood ready, and the bullies moved toward her. The first clash was seconds away. The storm had officially begun. The courtyard felt frozen in time. Students stood still, watching with wide eyes. Leary stood behind Rhea, clutching her own arms as if trying to make herself smaller. Her wings shook, glowing faintly with fear. The bullies, angry and embarrassed, stepped closer to Rhea. Their claws clicked against each other, their reptilian eyes glowing with annoyance. They weren't used to resistance. They weren't used to someone stepping between them and their favorite victim, especially not a human girl, who looked smaller than all three. The tallest bully hissed, "You don't know who you're messing with." Rhea stared back calmly. "I don't need to know." The second bully, who had dark, cracked skin like old stone, puffed out his chest. "This isn't your business." Rhea gave a short breath. "It is now." Her voice wasn't angry. It wasn't loud, but it carried a weight that made nearby students whisper. No one had ever spoken like that to these bullies. Not even teachers dared to challenge them directly. The tallest bully stepped forward, towering over Rhea. He smirked, showing sharp teeth. "Move aside, human. We are not done with the winged runt." Rhea shook her head. "You are done." The bully laughed loudly, echoing across the yard. "Oh, and what will you do?" Rhea lifted her hand and pointed at Leary's broken feather lying on the ground. "You hurt her." "So," the bully said, shrugging. "She's weak." Rhea's jaw tightened. "Then I'll say this one time. Stop hurting her." The bully growled in frustration, his pride wounded by her boldness. He flicked his claws toward her face, trying to scare her. Rhea didn't flinch. For a moment, the bullies hesitated. This human girl wasn't reacting normally. She didn't show fear, even when the biggest bully leaned in close enough for her to feel his breath. But then, the leader smirked again. "Let's teach the human a lesson." He swung his hand toward Rhea's shoulder, carelessly, confident he would knock her back. Rhea's response was instant. She grabbed his wrist, twisted it calmly, and stepped sideways in one fluid motion. The bully fell forward, crashing onto his knee with a loud grunt. Gasps filled the courtyard. The other two bullies froze, shocked that someone so small moved so fast. The leader snarled, tried to pull his arm free, but Rhea held him steady. She leaned close and whispered just loud enough for him to hear. "That was your warning." Then she released him, letting him stumble backward. The courtyard went silent again. No one moved. No one breathed. The bully stared at her with pure rage. He wasn't used to pain. He wasn't used to losing, especially not in front of the entire student body. "You're dead," he growled. The second bully stepped forward with a snarl. "Get her." They rushed at Rhea together. Rhea's body moved before her mind even finished processing the attack. She ducked on the first strike, stepped sideways, and blocked the second. Her movements were quick and sharp, simple but effective, the way humans were trained in basic defense. The courtyard filled with noise as the bullies swung wildly. Students watched, stunned. A human girl, alone, fighting 3 alien bullies at once. But Rhea wasn't fighting to hurt them. She wasn't trying to win a battle. She was trying to protect Leary. Every step she took kept her between Leary and danger. Every motion was controlled, focused. The first bully tried to rush her again, but she sidestepped and pushed him off balance. The second swung his arm like a club. Rhea ducked, grabbed his wrist, and flipped him over her shoulder with a simple throw. He hit the ground with a shocked gasp. The third bully, nervous now, charged from behind. Students shouted in warning, but Rhea already sensed him. She turned and raised her arm just in time to block him, then pushed him back with her elbow. Leary watched through trembling hands. She had never seen anyone stand up for her. She had never seen someone fight for her. Her heart felt strange, like hope, fear, and disbelief all mixed together. But the bullies were becoming more desperate. The leader roared angrily and charged again, claws out. Rhea stepped back, but this time his speed surprised her. His claws grazed her arm, and pain shot through her skin. Rhea hissed in breath, but didn't fall. She tightened her fists. "You really want to keep doing this?" she asked. The bully didn't answer. He only swung again. Rhea ducked and delivered a clean punch to his stomach. The bully bent over, breathless. She grabbed his shoulder and pushed him away. The courtyard erupted with shouts. Some students cheered quietly. Others were too shocked to speak. The bullies stumbled backward, defeated and confused. They weren't used to losing. They weren't used to fear. Rhea stood straight, breathing hard but steady. Her eyes were sharp and cold. "This is your last chance," she said. "Leave her alone." The leader growled but didn't move forward. He looked around at the watching students and felt humiliation burn inside him. He spat on the ground. "This isn't over, human." Rhea tilted her head. "It is for today." The bullies finally stepped back, hissing in anger as they walked away. Leary stared at Rhea in disbelief. Her wings still shook. Her hands still trembled. She didn't understand why someone would help her. Rhea turned to her gently. "Are you okay?" Leary nodded slowly, though tears still shined in her eyes. Rhea softened her voice. "You don't have to be afraid anymore. I'm here now." Leary blinked, confused. Why did you help me?" Rhea smiled softly. "Because no one should face something like that alone." The courtyard slowly returned to life as students whispered excitedly. A human girl just changed everything. But Rhea didn't feel victorious. She felt something else, a strong feeling that this wasn't the end. Bullies like these never gave up so easily. And she was right. Far away, the bullies watched Rhea and Leary with growing anger. Their revenge had already begun. The courtyard slowly returned to normal after the fight, but the air still felt heavy. Students whispered about the human girl who had stood against 3 reptilian bullies without hesitation. Some told the story with excitement, some with fear, and others with disbelief. But Leary didn't hear any of those voices. She stayed close to Rhea as they walked toward their next class. Her wings were folded tightly, and one side still hurt from the bully's rough pull. The broken feather remained in Rhea's hand. She had picked it up without thinking, as if it were precious. "Does it hurt?" Rhea asked softly. Leary nodded. "A little. It always hurts." "Always?" Rhea stopped walking and looked at her. How long had they been doing this? Leary lowered her eyes. "Months." The word hit Rhea like a punch. "And no one helped?" Leary shook her head. "Everyone is scared of them, even some teachers. They are from a strong family, very rich. They say rules don't matter to them." Rhea clenched her jaw. No rule should protect people like that. No power should allow someone to hurt a child every day. But she didn't speak her anger. She just nodded and placed a gentle hand on Leary's shoulder. "They won't touch you again." Leary didn't respond, but the small spark in her eyes said she wanted to believe it. Across the campus, the bullies gathered in a dark corner behind the maintenance hall. Their faces were twisted with rage and humiliation. The leader, Ragnick, kicked a metal crate hard enough to dent it. "I'll break every bone in that human's body." "You should have done it there," the second bully snapped. "You saw how fast she moved." Ragnick growled. "She must have training. Humans always fight dirty." The third bully, smaller but cruel in mind, leaned against the wall. His voice was low and dangerous. "We can't beat her alone. Not now." Ragnick glared. "So what? We hide? Run?" "No." The smaller one smiled wickedly. "We get help." Ragnick paused. "Help from who?" The answer made his anger fade into a slow, excited grin. "The upper-class seniors." A chill passed through the group. The upper-class seniors were a notorious set of older students, known for power, skill, and cruelty. They didn't bother with small fights. They preferred challenges, something to entertain them. And a human girl who embarrassed younger bullies? That was a challenge. Ragnick nodded slowly. Yes, the seniors will want to put her in her place. The smallest bully leaned forward. And once they finished with her, we finished with the winged one. They didn't need to say Leary's name. They all knew. Their revenge had officially begun. Meanwhile, Rhea brought Leary to the school infirmary. A medical bot scanned her wings, humming softly. "Minor damage," the bot said in a flat voice. "Feather regeneration will occur in 2 days. Avoid stress." Leary nodded shyly. Rhea frowned. "Is there anything we can do to make her wings safer?" The bot blinked its digital eyes. "Wings of the Volari species are delicate. They were not designed for a physical confrontation. Protection is recommended." Rhea sighed. "I know." When they left the infirmary, Leary walked slightly behind Rhea, her step small and hesitant. Students stared at them as they passed. Some whispered in sympathy. Others looked impressed. A few even looked proud. But Rhea didn't feel proud. She felt alert, like the air was too quiet, too heavy, like something was watching her. Her instincts were rarely wrong. As they reached the dormitory hallway, an older student leaned casually against the doorframe. He was tall, broad-shouldered, and covered in dark metallic scales. His eyes glowed amber. Rhea recognized him from orientation. Vasker, one of the upper-class seniors. Strong, dangerous. Rumored to have broken another student's arm in a practice duel. He smiled slowly as Rhea and Leary approached. "So," Vasker said, voice deep and smooth, "you're the human who embarrassed Ragnick and his little friends." Rhea narrowed her eyes. "I protected someone who needed help. That's all." Vasker chuckled. "You humans always think you're heroes." Then he leaned down to her eye level. "Tell me, do you know what happens to heroes at Aurora Academy?" Rhea didn't answer. "They get crushed." He straightened and walked away with heavy steps. Leary grabbed Rhea's sleeve. "Trembling. He is dangerous, very dangerous. You should stay away from him." Rhea gently squeezed her hand. "Then he should stay away from us." But even as she said it, she felt that same pressure in the air, the whisper of coming trouble. That night, in the quiet of the dorm, Leary couldn't sleep. She sat on her bed, hugging her knees, staring at the soft glow of her wings. Rhea sat across from her, cleaning her scratched arm from the earlier fight. "Rhea," Leary whispered, "you shouldn't protect me. It will only get worse for you." Rhea shook her head. "I don't care. But they will hurt you. Let them try." Leary's eyes filled with tears. "Why are you doing this? You don't even know me." Rhea paused. She looked at the tiny alien girl sitting in fear, alone, believing she deserved all this cruelty. Rhea spoke softly. "I know what it's like to be alone. I know what it's like when no one stands beside you." Leary blinked in surprise. Rhea continued, "No one should face that. Not you. Not anyone." Leary wiped her tears, but fear remained. "They won't stop." "I won't either," Rhea said. For the first time, Leary gave a small, fragile smile. But outside the dormitory windows, shadows moved silently across the courtyard. Ragnick and his group were whispering, guiding someone larger, stronger, more dangerous. Vasker and 2 seniors stepped into the moonlight. "Where is the human girl?" he asked. "Dorm Tower A," Ragnick smirked. Vasker cracked his knuckles. "Good. It's time we welcome her properly." The night grew colder. The danger grew closer. And Rhea had no idea what kind of storm was coming next. Night came early at the Galactic Academy. By 2000 hours, the tall towers were quiet, the halls empty, and the floating lamps dim. Most students slept, some studied, and only a few night guards walked through the long glass corridors. But Alara stayed awake. Something in her heart whispered danger. Something in her mind replayed the rooftop fight again and again. And something in Lyra's frightened eyes kept her from sleeping at all. Lyra, the small winged child, was placed in the recovery dorm to rest. Her wings were wrapped in glowing bandages. Her room was on the lower level, where healers checked on her every hour. Alara wanted to stay with her, but the teacher said she had to return to her own dorm. Still, she could not rest. She sat on her bed, fully dressed, watching the clock on the wall as it ticked toward midnight. Every sound outside her door made her tense. Every whisper wind against the window made her sit up straighter. She had a feeling the bullies weren't done. And she was right. A shadow moves. At 017, the Academy's corridor lights flickered. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. Exactly the pattern used by students trying to bypass security sensors. Alara stood instantly. Her heart began to pound. Her breath sharpened. Her instincts screamed. They're going after Lyra. She moved to the door and pressed her ear against it. Silent hallway. No footsteps. No voices. No alarms. Too quiet. She opened the door a crack and peeked out. A dark shape moved at the far end of the hallway, walking low, almost crawling. Alara caught a brief flash of something she recognized. The bulky outline of Dravik, the group leader. He was heading toward the stairway that led directly down to the recovery dorm. Alara cursed under her breath. She grabbed her jacket, slipped on her boots, and moved out silently. She didn't run. Running made noise. Instead, she leaned forward, staying close to the wall, her steps light and controlled. She followed them from a distance, but not too far. She knew their plan. Finish what they started. Break the child's wings again. Silence her forever. Not tonight. The stairway of echoes. When they reached the stairway, Alara paused behind a corner. The bullies whispered below her. Make it quick. No witnesses. She won't scream if we cover her mouth. This time we end it. Alara clenched her fists. She counted their voices. 5 of them. Dravik, Norkin, Tresh, Gorvik, and one more she didn't know. 5 against 1 child. She swallowed the fire burning in her chest and forced herself to stay calm. Slowly, silently, she descended the stairs 1 step at a time. The metal steps creaked under her weight. She froze every time the sound echoed. Finally, she reached the bottom. The corridor here was darker. Only a few blue night lamps glowed along the walls. Healing machines hummed quietly behind closed doors. Lyra's room was at the end of the hall, and the bullies were already there. Lyra senses the danger. Inside her small room, Lyra sat up suddenly. Her wings vibrated weakly beneath her bandages. Her heart raced as she felt something strange, a cold presence like icy wind. The shadows outside her door grew darker. Lyra whispered to herself, Alara? But Alara wasn't there. Not yet. Lyra pulled the blanket up to her chin and stared at the door. Then she heard it. Soft footsteps. Too soft. Too slow. The door handle shook. Lyra gasped. Alara makes her move. Alara was hiding behind the corner, just a few meters away. Dravik and the others stood outside Lyra's room, blocking the door, whispering commands. Dravik placed his clawed hand on the handle. On my count 3, 2. Alara didn't let him reach 1. She stepped out from behind the corner. Her voice was sharp and loud in the silent hallway. Step away from her door. All 5 bullies spun around. Shock, anger, hatred. Dravik sneered. You again. Norkin spat on the floor. Go back to your dorm. Human. Alara took 1 calm step forward. Leave her alone. Tresh laughed. Or what? You'll fight 5 of us. Alara didn't blink. That depends. Are you stupid enough to try? They were. The first attack. Gorvik rushed at her first, his heavy feet shaking the floor. Ilera sidestepped and grabbed his arm, using his own momentum to slam him into the wall. He groaned and slid to the floor. The others hesitated for a second. Ilera raised her fists. "Come on, then." Dravik roared and charged. Ilera blocked his swing with both arms. The impact stung badly, but she held her ground. She struck back, short, quick punches aimed at his ribs, his throat, his gut. He staggered backward, shocked by her speed. Norkin grabbed her from behind. Ilera kicked back hard. Her heel hit his knee. He howled and collapsed. Tresh attacked from the right. Ilera ducked. Tresh's fist hit the wall instead. He screamed in pain. Within seconds, 3 bullies were down. 2 remained. Lyra opens her door. The noise woke the hallway. Lyra crawled out of bed and opened her door a tiny crack. Her big glowing eyes shimmered in fear and hope. She saw Ilera fighting alone. "Ilera," she whispered. Ilera heard her voice and felt new strength surge through her. "I'm here," she said, blocking another strike. "Go back inside." "Lock the door." Lyra didn't listen. She stepped into the hallway, shaking but brave. "Stop hurting her." Lyra cried. The bullies froze in surprise. For the first time, Lyra didn't hide behind someone. She stood there, tiny but bright, wings trembling with courage. Dravik glared. "You again? I'll clip your wings right now." Ilera snapped. She punched him so hard he fell backward, hitting the floor with a heavy thud. The hallway went silent. The failed escape. The last bully tried to run, but Ilera caught him by the collar. "You're not going anywhere." She dragged him toward the others. Dravik groaned, holding his chest. "This isn't over, human." Ilera stared into his eyes, voice low and sharp. "Yes, it is." The night guards finally arrived, running down the hallway with stunned staffs. They looked at the unconscious and groaning bullies on the floor. Then they looked at Ilera, then at Lyra. "What happened here?" one guard asked. Ilera answered calmly. "They tried to hurt a child again. I stopped them." Lyra nodded, tears in her eyes. "She saved me." The guards signaled for backup. The bullies were finished. Lyra's words. As they walked back to the healer's room, Lyra squeezed Ilera's hand. "You always come," she whispered. Ilera smiled gently. "I'll always come." Lyra's wings glowed softly, brighter than before, because tonight she learned something new. Humans don't run from darkness. They walk straight into it, to protect the ones who cannot fight. The academy felt different after the attack on the roof. Students whispered in every hallway. Guards walked in pairs. Teachers spoke in quiet voices. Everyone sensed that something huge was coming, but they did not know what. Only 2 people understood the truth, Ilera and Lyra. The winged child stayed in the healing room for 2 days. Her wings glowed weakly, the colors pale and tired. She tried to smile every time Ilera visited, but her smile never reached her eyes. She was still afraid. Even worse, she still blamed herself. "Maybe they are right," Lyra whispered one night. "Maybe I am weak. Maybe my wings, maybe I am not supposed to fly." Ilera's heart cracked. This child, this small, kind, gentle life, had started to believe the words of her bullies. "No," Ilera said softly, holding Lyra's tiny hand. "You are meant to fly. They just don't want you to realize it." Lyra looked up with watery eyes. "Why do they hate me?" Ilera took a deep breath. "Because you shine. Because you are different. And some creatures hate what they don't understand." Her voice turned sharper. "But that does not give them the right to hurt you." For a moment, Lyra only listened. Then the small alien nodded. The academy prepares for a meeting. A special meeting was called by the headmistress. All students, humans, aliens, hybrids, were required to attend. The topic was simple: violence, discipline, and consequences. Ilera knew the bullies would be there. She also knew they would be angry, and angry bullies made stupid choices. But she was ready. She had a plan. When they entered the grand hall, hundreds of seats filled the circular room. Floating lanterns lit the air like stars. Teachers lined the edges. Security drones hovered above. The bullies, Dravik, Norkin, and the others sat near the front. Their eyes were cold, angry, humiliated. Dravik glared directly at Alara, a silent message. This is not over. Alara stared back without fear. Her message. Good. I'm waiting. Lyra sat beside her, wrapped in a soft cloak that covered her wings. Alara never let go of her hand. Headmistress Kaler speaks. Headmistress Kaler walked onto the center platform. Her voice, calm but powerful, filled the room. This academy was built to unite species, to teach cooperation, to prepare the young for a shared future. She paused. And yet we have failed. A wave of whispers spread through the hall. Kaler continued, her eyes sharp. There have been multiple attacks. A child's wings were broken. Threats were made. A rooftop fight occurred. This behavior cannot continue. The bullies shifted uncomfortably. I will speak to each group separately, Kaler said. But hear this first. If anyone harms another student again, especially a child, they will be expelled and banned from every planetary academy. The hall buzzed with shock. Alara smiled slightly. Lyra squeezed her hand. But the moment of peace didn't last. The bullies snapped. As soon as the meeting ended, the bullies moved. Fast. They marched straight toward the doors, where Alara and Lyra were walking out. Dravik's voice echoed in the corridor. You think we're scared of rules? You think a speech will stop us? Alara turned, placing herself in front of Lyra. No, she said calmly. Rules won't stop you. But I will. The bullies laughed. Norkin stepped forward. You think you're tough because you got lucky on the roof? Alara didn't blink. I think I'm tough because I'm human. Dravik snarled. Humans always act like heroes. Alara nodded. That's the idea. Dravik's fist tightened. Move. We want the winged freak. Alara didn't move an inch. Behind her, Lyra trembled, but she didn't hide. Dravik raised his clawed hand, but before he could strike, Alara grabbed his wrist. The corridor fell silent. Her grip was solid, immovable, human strength, small compared to larger species, but controlled, focused, dangerous. Touch her, Alara said quietly, and I promise you won't walk out of this hallway. Dravik growled, twisting, trying to break free. He couldn't. Her voice stayed calm. You've had your fun hurting a child. Now it ends. Security approaches. Too slowly. Down the hall, 2 security guards appeared. But they were far. Too far. The bullies realized they had a small window to attack before interfering adults arrived. Norkin lunged. Another tried to circle around. Alara reacted instantly. She shoved Dravik backward. So hard he hit the wall with a heavy thud. Then she stepped forward and raised her hands. Stay behind me, Lyra. Lyra nodded, wings trembling under the cloak. The bullies attacked at once. The corridor exploded into motion. Alara fights with purpose. The first swing came fast. Alara ducked, grabbed the attacker's arm, pulled, twisted. The alien fell to the floor, groaning. The second bully charged with a roar. Alara sidestepped and kicked his leg. He stumbled, surprised by her speed. Dravik recovered, roaring in anger. He swung with a heavy, clawed hand. Alara blocked with both arms, her feet sliding back from a force. But she held. You should have picked someone your own size, she said. Then she drove her elbow into Dravik's chest. The impact made him gasp. Lyra watched, wide-eyed, not with fear, but with awe. For the first time, she saw what humans were. Not just strong, not just brave, but protective, fiercely protective. Guards arrived too late. By the time the guards reached them, 3 bullies were on the ground and the rest had backed away. Dravik clutched his chest. Norkin held his twisted arm. Others limped or breathed heavily. The guards looked stunned. What happened here? One asked. Alara pointed at the bullies. They tried to attack a child again. Lyra stepped forward slowly, her eyes soft but steady. She saved me, the little alien whispered. Again. The guards nodded, already calling in the headmistress. Dravik's group realized it was over. Truly over. They were finished. But the story wasn't. Ilara turned to Lyra, brushing her hair gently. "You're safe now." Lyra looked up with shining eyes. "No," she said softly. "We are safe now." The next morning, the Galactic Academy was louder than ever. Every hallway buzzed with voices. Every student seemed to be talking about the same thing. The bullies attacked the winged child again. The human girl stopped them again. But this time, people were scared. Not of Lyra, not of Ilara, but of the idea that 5 students actually tried to harm a child in the middle of the night. Rumors spread like fire. Ilara took down all 5. The human fought like a soldier. The child's wings almost got torn again. Headmistress Kaler is furious. Ilara walked the halls with controlled calm, but inside her chest, the fire still burned. She knew this wasn't over. The bullies might be suspended or punished, but the bigger problem, the system that allowed this cruelty, was still alive, and she wanted it to end. Lyra stayed in the healing room again, but this time she seemed different. She wasn't curled up in fear. She wasn't hiding her wings. She sat up straight, watching the door, waiting for Ilara. The moment Ilara stepped inside, Lyra brightened. "You came," Lyra whispered. "Always," Ilara said, sitting beside her. "How are your wings?" Lyra stretched them slightly. The bandages glowed. "Hurting, but stronger." Ilara smiled. "Good, because today everything changes." Lyra tilted her head. "What do you mean?" Ilara didn't say it yet. She needed strength first. She gently held Lyra's tiny hand. The summoning. At midday, all students received a message on their wristcom bands. Mandatory meeting, Grand Hall. Report immediately. Ilara felt her stomach tighten. "This is it," she whispered. The Grand Hall was already filled when she arrived. Hundreds of students, teachers, guards, and administrators sat in rows. A tense, electric silence hung in the air. The bully sat in front, bruised, bandaged, humiliated, but still angry. Dravik glared at Ilara the moment she entered. Norkin avoided eye contact. Tresha's arm was in a sling. Lyra sat between 2 healers for protection. Everyone waited as Headmistress Kaler walked to the center platform. Her robe shimmered like distant galaxies. She looked calm, but her eyes were sharp as blades. "Last night," she began, 5 students attempted to harm a child in the recovery dorm. A ripple of shock ran through the crowd, even though many already knew. Another student, Ilara Graves, intervened. Again, she prevented a tragedy. Again, murmurs filled the hall. Kaler raised her hand. Silence returned. "I will not allow this academy to become a place of fear. We are here to learn unity, not violence." Dravik muttered loudly. "Maybe we don't want unity with weak species." Gasps erupted. Kaler turned toward him slowly. "Stand up," she commanded. Dravik stood, slowly, painfully. Kaler pointed at him. "You attacked a child. You broke her wings. And now you show no regret. For this, you are expelled from the Galactic Academy effective immediately." The hall went silent. Dravik's face turned pale. "No," he shouted. "You can't. My father is on the council. My clan." "Your clan can appeal," Kaler said coldly. "But my decision is final." Dravik roared and tried to step forward, but the guards moved instantly. 4 of them surrounded him, and he had no choice but to sit down. Kaler turned to the others. "Tresh, Norkin, Gorvik, Saris, you aided the attack. You targeted a child. You are suspended for 1 month and will undergo mandatory reformation training." The bullies swallowed, defeated and afraid. But Kaler wasn't finished. She looked around the whole hall. "I have failed to protect my students, especially Lyra." Her voice softened. "And I apologize." Lyra blinked, shocked. Ilara froze. A headmistress apologizing to a child was unheard of. Kaler continued. "This academy will change. Immediately. Security. Training. Discipline. Everything." Then she turned to Ilara. "And now, the student who saved a life." Ilara steps forward. Kaler gestured. "Ilara Graves, come to the center." Ilara felt the weight of every eye in the hall. She took a deep breath and walked forward. Her steps were steady, but her heart raced. Kaler looked at her with respect. You risked your life. You fought bravely. You protected someone weaker than you. Ilara shook her head. I did what anyone should do. Kaler paused. Perhaps, but you did it. Twice. The hall murmured. Ilara didn't know whether to bow or speak, so she stayed silent. Kaler's voice grew louder. The Academy recognizes your courage, and from this moment forward, she placed a small silver badge in Ilara's hand. You are officially a student guardian of the Galactic Academy. Gasps echoed through the hall. A guardian was a rare honor, usually given only to the best senior students, not to a human teenager. Ilara felt her chest tighten with emotion. I won't let you down, she said softly. Kaler smiled. I know. Lyra's flight. When Ilara turned to leave, she heard a soft sound. FWS. She looked back. Lyra was standing, glowing softly. Her wings were still bandaged, but they unfurled slightly, shining with colors that hadn't appeared before. Lyra stepped forward, trembling with emotion. Ilara, this is because of you. Ilara knelt to eye level. Lyra, your wings will heal. And when they do... Lyra's eyes sparkled. I will fly, she whispered. Ilara nodded. Yes, you will fly, higher than anyone. Lyra hugged her tightly, her small arms wrapping around Ilara's neck. The hall watched in silence. Some smiled, some wiped tears, some felt shame, some felt hope. But everyone saw the same thing. A tiny winged child, a brave human girl, and a bond stronger than fear. The Bullies' last words. As guards escorted the Bullies out, Dravik glared at Ilara one last time. This isn't over, human, he growled. Ilara stepped toward him, her eyes sharp. You're right, she said. It's not over. He smirked. Then she added, but you are. Dravik froze. The guards pulled him away. And that was the end of him. A new beginning. When the hall emptied, Lyra and Ilara walked together through a quiet corridor. The sun was rising outside, painting the glass walls with gold. Lyra held Ilara's hand tightly. What now? Lyra asked. Ilara smiled. Now, we rest. We heal. We get stronger. She looked at Lyra with fierce pride. And one day we fly together. Lyra's wings glowed bright. A new chapter of their lives had begun. A chapter where cruelty ended, where fear faded, where a human girl proved again. Humanity protects its own, and anyone they choose to protect.